So when we talk about fleas in Minnesota, we have a definite flea season. We see the most active fleas in Minnesota at the end of summer and the beginning of fall. The rest of the year we have very little active flea problem, although I will tell you that if your animals, your cats or dogs, are hunters in the middle of winter, if they're picking up critters for any reason, they can get fleas in the dead of winter and bring them into your house. The most important part about fleas is that you prevent them. The problem with fleas is not only that they bite your animal and they can be an annoyance and an irritation to your animal, but they bring them into your house and your house becomes infested. And getting rid of fleas in your house is one of the most frustrating problems that we see. So in terms of preventatives, we want you to avoid using anything over the counter. Most of our over-the-counter medications that have been around for a long time are actually quite dangerous. And if not used appropriately or used in animals that are sensitive to them, can actually cause seizures and even death. Cats especially are extremely sensitive to them, so you never want to use an over-the-counter product on a cat. The products that we have available through veterinary offices these days are actually much, much safer and very, very much more effective than the over-the-counter medications anyways. We carry a couple of different ones here. You'll find that there are different ways that they can be put on the animal. We have collars, we have Top Spot product, which is a little bit of liquid that goes on the skin in between the shoulder blades typically. And both of these products last for more than a day. So the Top Spot products usually last for 1 to 3 months. The collars anywhere from a month to up to 8 months, depending on the activities of your animal. So remember, prevention is the key to preventing fleas. We don't want fleas in your house. And the reason for that is because fleas do not do well with it's very difficult to get rid of them. They are very resistant to chemicals, and there is actually one aspect of the flea life cycle that there is no chemical that will actually kill that stage of the life cycle. And so what happens when you have fleas in your house is that you end up having an infestation 2 times over, because once the flea stage of the life cycle goes through and hatches, you will actually end up with a second infestation. And that's very, very frustrating, because you think you've cleared up the problem and the problem comes right back and it's all over again, that you have to retreat everybody, including your house and your environment, which can sometimes even mean your yard. The animals should all be treated. Every animal in your house should be treated for fleas if you find one of your animals has fleas. They should be treated with a product that has the flea prevention in it, as well as a flea birth control, if you will, a medication that's going to prevent the eggs that the fleas lay in your house from hatching open. And using those products on a consistent basis will prevent those fleas that are being now laid once they've been treated from actually continuing that life cycle in the future. Cleaning up your house. The most important parts of cleaning up your house are vacuuming and vacuuming and vacuuming. The one thing about vacuuming that you need to know about is that you need to make sure that if you have a vacuum cleaner that has a bag, that you remove the bag after you vacuum and throw it away, because the fleas will crawl out of your vacuum and go back into your house. The other side of the coin is if you have a bag-less vacuum cleaner, you want to take the contents outside and dump it, and then make sure that when you bring it back in the house that you rinse it very, very well with extremely hot water to kill anything that potentially might have been left behind. The other thing that you need to know about when cleaning your environment is that you want to avoid using chemical bombs. Bombs have medication that goes straight up into the air and comes straight down and land. The chemical only lands where it can come down. The flea itself typically will go where it's dark to lay their eggs, and so they hide under the front edges of the furniture and along the edges of your floorboards, and the flea bomb chemicals can't reach those things. So instead of using bombs, you want to use a spray. Sprays are much more effective because you can get them to the areas where you need them to be. When you're vacuuming, make sure that you vacuum underneath the edges of your furniture. Make sure that you vacuum the edges of the floorboards. Make sure that if you have upholstered furniture, you pull the cushions off and vacuum in the crevices of your upholstered furniture. Those are where the fleas are going to go. The other thing that you need to do is make sure that you wash all bedding that comes in contact with your pet. And you don't have to use bleach or anything like that, but you do want to try and use hot water if you can. And you're going to want to wash that bedding quite frequently for the first few weeks, at least once or twice a week. After that, when you get the recurrence or that resurgence of fleas coming back after about 6 to 8 weeks, you're going to want to start the process all over again and repeat everything that we've just talked about. So those are the things that you want to concentrate on when you have a flea infestation that comes up and manages to get your house and your pets.